what song defines your adolescence? Oh man, I mean, it's so hard. Kind of looking back at those lists from the early '70s, and again, all I did was just kind of go back and just to the ones I could remember at the very beginning. So I would think, just based on my emotional reaction to the artist and the music, I would say it's Elton John and Stevie Wonder, right? Just because they had uh, some of the most songs, right, that I kind of connected with. The ones that I connected with that were more fun was probably Tony Orlando and Dawn. There was probably 4 or 5 songs from Tony Orlando, and I always liked Tony Orlando because he was kind of cool and suave, and he got the hair thing going on, and he's the one that sings tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree, and then also another person or group that had a couple of groups were War that had several songs on there, and Freddie Fender, right? So you already see kind of the bilingual piece kind of playing a role in kind of the favorites. So thanks for asking that. I know it's not the go-to thing, but it wasn't until I think I heard in 8th grade when I heard Back in Black, and I heard the album Paranoid by Black Sabbath and the Cars Candy O. That's when I kind of shifted from popular music to more kind of classic rock or hard rock, whatever you call it. So, thank you for the question. What are you listening to now is another question. Really, right now, a group I really listen to a lot, almost since they released their 4th album, is the group Tool, just T-O-L, Tool, and they released their 4th album. I think it was 3 days before my website went live, and I thought that was kind of cool because I didn't really go buy it until 2 weeks after the website went live because I was so busy going live with the website. But then when I listened to the album, so many of the themes in the album were in my book, right? So I thought it was just kind of cool that an album like that could be released. And Tool hadn't released an album in 13 years. And 3 days before my website went live, they decided to put an album out. And I was like, so it's a little surreal to me, right? Just to kind of the confluence of things. And really, they're a great band. I recommend them to anyone who doesn't mind very loud electric metal and hard rock music. Okay, Sophie. So next question.
What song did my dad and Teresa and his wife dance to at the wedding, and why?
Yeah, well, like I said, at our wedding we had Grupo Fantasma played, and then we had some dancers from Aslan Dance Company dance. That was pretty fun to see them do that. But in terms of the songs where Teresa dances with her dad, and I dance with my mom, and we danced together. We picked the Beatles, right? It was the main group that we picked to pick the songs from. But our song, Teresa's a nice song, is "All You Need Is Love" by the Beatles. And I think what Teresa and her dad danced to yesterday, so thank you for that question. But the Beatles obviously are mentioned several times in the book, and that was certainly it's a special song for us and a special thing for us to share at our wedding. And thank you for that question. But the Beatles definitely, I didn't quite appreciate them nearly as much as I should have until Teresa and I got married, and she would play more of it. There's stuff that I hadn't heard. My college roommate, Miguel, he was a big Beatles fan, and that's how I learned a lot of their songs. He bought like the whole collection of Beatles albums, and I was able to kind of listen to all of them literally, and then make a mixtape. Back then when we made mixtapes. Well, cool. Another question?
Rusty Cloves asked, how did Sophia and Joseph respond to my dad learning about rock and roll? Well, I'll try answer for him.
If you want to, I mean, it's better to hear it from the person directly and not how I think you're doing it.
Yeah, just really quick. He's been playing it our whole lives, like in the car, and like he's been like learning about it, and he's always been interested and like fascinated by music. So I think whenever he learns something new, he like always lets us know or like tells us what he's learning. So I like when he learns stuff because it's interesting. They're just random facts that are good to know, I guess.
Yeah, I think I mean, when I started writing the book, Sophie was 7 and Joseph was 3, and now they're 15 and 11, right? So they've had a chance to listen to me play a lot of stuff, but they probably heard me play Rush and Rage Against the Machine and Tool probably the most, just because that's probably what I played the biggest or the most, right? In the last 3 years or so. Metallica also, a lot of Metallica as well, but I don't usually force them to listen to it nonstop. I'll have them hear one song and then I'll change it back to the pop station. Okie dokie. Okay, well, there's another question.
Victor Steins asked, "What are your top 3 live concerts?"
Oh boy, I think what I did in my book is because I kind of did list out my favorite live shows, but and they're not necessarily rock and roll related or hard rock related, but these were artists that when I saw them perform live, it kind of lifted you up, like it made you feel like you were flying for some reason, and not because I was under the influence of anything. But I would say that the greatest things I've seen live, just because of the effect it has on you, it's just such a powerful effect. The harmonica playing of Kim Wilson from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, it's just amazing what he can do with the harmonica. It's just unbelievable. Got to see Jimmy Smith, who's kind of a jazz kind of pianist or organ, mainly the organ, right, is what he played. And I got to see him at the Mercury, and that was just an amazing thing to have watched. And then McCoy Tyner, who was the pianist for John Coltrane for a long time. Again, I saw him at the One World Theater, and that was just an unbelievable show, just to see these artists in such small venues and just really take you to the stratosphere just by their music playing. No words, right? Most of the time it's just music. And then in terms of a fun Austin show, I would say when I got to see Doug Song at Antone's, that was before he passed. That was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen since I've been in Austin. So that was pretty cool. Thanks. Hubert
Chang
You don't have to say their name.
asked, "Did going to Stanford expose? Oh, okay, that's a cool one. Expose you to other forms of music in unexpected or surprising ways?"
Yeah, I think for sure. I had my favorites, but there were a few of us that were headbangers. We lived at Casa Zapata, which is a Mexican themed dorm at Stanford. So at those dorms, typically half of the folks, the students who live there, are from the ethnicity of the themed dorm. So half of them were, Mexican American, Latino, Chicano. So there were a few other folks from at the dorm who were headbangers, and I'm sure, and I apologize to the people who lived next to us and above and below us, because we tended to play the music way too loud, and I'm sure we affected your ability to study and sleep. But so I kind of got to broaden my rock and roll sort of preferences, because like Ike, he liked Jimi Hendrix a lot, and Santana, so I developed kind of a appreciation for that. Yeah from East LA. You know, he liked everything, but he was a we all huge Iron Maiden fans, and but he also liked like Public. No, what's the name of the rap group?
Public Enemy?
No, the one from LA. Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and
NWA?
NWA, yeah. So he liked so he liked the Sex Pistols. He had some punk rock, and he liked hard rock, and so I kind of learned a lot by that, even though I didn't necessarily like all of that. But it made me appreciate the fact that music can be good no matter the genre. And then I think a couple of years after I got to Stanford, from Genghis and Steven and others, and we got to kind of hear more of the alternative, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and groups like that. And of course, from Gome and Hughes, we just appreciation for like Billy Joel, for Talking Heads, for Midnight Oil, a lot of groups. Again, you can't buy everything and you can't learn about everything. So I kind of appreciated just the fact that because I'm always intrigued that why do people like certain groups, and try to understand why they do that, and maybe you understand a little bit about your friends or your family because of what they listen to. Okay. Alrighty, well, who's there? It's a little Santana. That's a video probably for maybe the next one or the one after that, the reading after that. We're closing in at 9 o'clock, and thanks for watching, and sorry for the technical snafus. Because we can't invite the tech people in, because we're all quarantined. We can't kind of bring the experts in here to show me how to do it right. So thanks for your patience with that, and Teresa for sharing her account. And I think we're going to close it out. Joe, just say thank you. We'll kind of put out another notice to give us enough time to figure out how to do this. Stay safe out there, and really want to appreciate you kind of taking time out to share this with us. And I want to give Joseph a chance to say something before we close.
I just want to say thank you for watching today, and thank you for your time.
Alrighty, peace
Bye.
to you all, and stay safe, and just pray for the best, pray for the world, for our country, to get past this, and we can if we pull together and do what we can, what's within our power, right, to change as this crisis continues, and as we kind of bring it under control. So take care, and thank you so much for your help and your support kind of throughout the years. And today is actually the 25th anniversary of the death of Selena. So even though she's not a rock artist, but she did actually cover some 70s songs. And since I talked about music from the 70s, I figure that might be a good. This one, Sophie? Yeah. So we end with Selena, rest in peace, La Reina de la Música Tejana. I'm not sure what it is playing. Oh, here we go. Okay, well, it's sort of working. We'll let it play a little bit, but thanks for watching. Say a prayer for Selena. Watch some of her videos. Tell stories to your family. I will survive, right? So we thought it was a fitting ending, just based on what we're going through, and just. So there you go. Got a little bit of sound there, but we will survive. Hang in there, and then we'll let you know when the next one's happening. Peace and love to everybody out there. All right. Thank you. Good night.